The last time I asked anyone to be my girlfriend was 13 years ago when I was in high school. I have not taken dating seriously since then. Now I am dating a girl I really like, and this weekend seems like a good opportunity to ask her to be my girlfriend. We are taking a trip to Los Angeles and Santa Monica. Do ladies expect a grand gesture? Is there such a thing as doing too much? What was your moment like? Story 1. My boyfriend had a life-threatening accident in my driveway, and I told my boss I had to log off from work because my boyfriend nearly died. I showed him the message once my boyfriend was stable and we laughed. We have been official since that point. Story 2. My boyfriend nervously asked, "We've been dating for a while now, and things are going well. Can I start calling you my girlfriend?" I replied with a laugh, "Absolutely yes." Story 3. My husband and I had been together for 3 months, going on dates and being intimate. We were lying in bed watching the first Iron Man movie when I asked, "What are we? Are we just friends with benefits? Are we dating? Do you like me?" He responded, "I've been courting you and making sure neither of us is wasting our time. Do you want to be my girlfriend? We've been married for 12 years now." Story 4. I didn't ask. I kissed her, expecting a slap in the face. She kissed me back. Many years later, I found out she considered me her boyfriend long before the kiss. Story 5. I've only ever dated people I was already friends with, but I've never been the one to ask. The other person has always asked me. Story 6. Throughout all my relationships, I never asked the woman to be my girlfriend. We simply spent time together, grew closer, and then I kissed her and we became a couple. Story 7. It depends mostly on the type of relationship you both have. If it involves date nights and trips, then yes, there is a need to express that you would like to spend more time together and for her to be a bigger part of your life. On the other hand, if you are already close and spend time together regularly outside of dates, there is no real need for that, as you are already together as a couple. Of course, you can always add a little spice to your life by asking her just after intimacy, while still feeling the connection. Story 8. He took me on an IKEA shopping spree, then we had a brunch date. His last stop for the day was a flower shop. He came out and said he wanted this good day to last forever and asked if I could be his girlfriend. They were peonies, my favorite flowers. We had a wine and movie night to celebrate. It has been a few years, but I still get butterflies thinking back to that day. Story 9. I found out she lived upstairs at her brother-in-law's house. I asked if she was single and he said yes. I went up and played guitar for her and we started kissing. After a while, I told her I was going to be her partner. She agreed. We lasted 11 years but broke up last month. Before I went upstairs, I had been seeing her at shows and gatherings. She was beautiful. Story 10. Well, since you don't drive home anymore and basically have all your belongings here, we might as well make it official. Story 11. We started feeling comfortable around each other, and I took her to a romantic restaurant by the marina. Then, I walked her to a quiet spot to ask her to be my girlfriend while we continued to learn more about one another. She said yes and gave that smile she makes when I show love to her, and then we shared our first kiss. Story 12. She actually asked me if I wanted us to be exclusive, which kind of surprised me because I had just been assuming we were. Story 13. When I dated, which was not for years, you only saw one person at a time. It was assumed that after a few dates, you became boyfriend and girlfriend. Story 14. I never actually said that. We get along just fine. One day, I asked her about traveling together. During planning, I asked, "What if we stay in the same hotel room?" She said, "Yes." I didn't expect her to say that. While in the room, I said, "Can I hug you?" She replied, "Yes." The rest is history. After that, we traveled together a couple of times, and eventually, I asked her to live together with me. We've lived together for 5 years since then. Story 15. Hey, the other day I described you as my girlfriend to someone for the first time. What do you think about that? Story 16. The last time I was in this situation, I told her, "When I tell my friends about you, I always want to call you my girlfriend. However, we haven't actually talked about this yet, and I wanted to check with you if we're putting any label on this because I would love to be your boyfriend." In another situation, When we were teenagers, we were both big fans of Gravity Falls. In reference to a scene from that show, she gave me a little note with checkboxes, asking, "Do you want to be my boyfriend?" The three options were yes, definitely, and absolutely. It seems very nostalgic and kitschy when I think about it now, but I checked all three boxes. Story 17. Hi, can you come here for a minute? Be my girlfriend, okay? Now she is my wife. Story 18. It was 11 p.m. on a bench near the Loire River. I asked her out 2 weeks ago to see a movie. I'll skip the details, but it was our second date and we knew we wanted more. We sat there for what felt like an eternity without saying a word, in the cold winds of October. We were scared. Damn it. Take her hand and see. Of course she is into you, I told myself. She had placed her hand near mine, and I put my hand on top. Nothing. Not a word. Just living in the moment. We turned our heads, looked into each other's eyes, and we knew. Can I kiss you? Yes. It's been 9 years and counting. Story 19. I just asked her and she said yes. We've been together for 6 months now. I love my imaginary girlfriend. Story 20. We were heading to my niece's high school graduation party, where a lot of extended family would be present. I told her that, even though we had only been dating for a short while, I would like to introduce her today to those who had not yet met her as my girlfriend. She said she would like that. We both smiled broadly and kissed. I considered not asking her and simply introducing her as my girlfriend, but I didn't want to make her feel uncomfortable. I also thought about how I would respond if she said not quite yet. In the end, I was playing the long game with her because I really wanted to marry her. We had been dating for about 5 weeks. She mentioned months later that it was very chivalrous of me to ask first. We have now been married for over 25 years. Story 21. After the first kiss, if she is looking for more than casual dating, it is mutual and we do not need to confess to each other. Story 22. I'm in the same situation. People think it's easy, but it's a formal process. I'm considering inviting her over one day, giving her flowers, and asking if she wants to be my girlfriend. Story 23. I serenaded her by singing this. Story 24. I created a Spotify playlist featuring all the songs that are thematically about love. I generated a Spotify QR code for her to scan. Story 25. Honestly, it's a pretty funny story in retrospect. We had been dating for a few months, and I don't think either of us was really seeing other people. I had a long weekend. I went out with coworkers on Wednesday, went out with her on Thursday, partied on Friday night, and had a party all day Saturday for bottomless brunch into a birthday party. Stupid, I know. I met up with her late Saturday night around 10 p.m. and felt coherent. She stayed the night at my place, and I offered to cook her breakfast in the morning. I woke up feeling really bad, which was no surprise after all the drinking and lack of sleep. As I started cooking pancakes, I felt a sharp pain in my chest. I lay down and my resting heart rate was at least 110, and I couldn't sit still. She went to get me some electrolyte drink and stayed with me for a bit before suggesting urgent care or the emergency room, and we decided on the latter since it seemed serious. We checked in, got some tests done, and she came in after intake to sit with me. I was talking about what I would tell my parents while giving text updates and thought, what am I going to tell my mom about my girlfriend who is sitting with me? It was totally unintentional. We were both surprised and ended up having a conversation about it. It was a little embarrassing in retrospect, but we had the label for a few months, and it's been great. She handled the whole situation incredibly well, and it was really sweet of her to stay with me, which I found adorable. The doctor basically said I was being foolish and that everything was fine just to rest up, so no harm, no foul. Story 26. Will you be my girlfriend? We sat on my bed, and I asked her that. She said yes, and we hugged and cuddled. Story 27. When I first met her, I had just gotten out of a long relationship and wanted to be upfront. We could hang out, but I had no intention of dating. After 3 months, we couldn't seem to get away from each other. That night, I expressed something like, I really have enjoyed these past few months. Are you happy with how things are? Or do you want to be something else? Vague, I know, but I was nervous. I thought I was clear about asking whether we should be in a relationship or stay casual. She said she was happy with how it was, and we went to sleep. The next day, we hung out as usual. I was under the impression I had been turned down, while she thought we had become an item. We eventually realized the miscommunication and laughed a lot. We still do, actually. It's been 11 years, and we are now married. There's no wrong way to ask. Just try to be a little clearer than I was. Story 28. My friend took a girl on a date and introduced her to us as his girlfriend the next day. They are married now. Story 29. She and I go way back. We met as toddlers and hung out one night after not seeing each other for about 10 years. She told me she liked me, and I was caught off guard because I didn't see her that way at all. The next week, while we were hanging out again, I asked her if that was still true. Needless to say, we started dating that night, and here we are 3 years later. Story 30. My girlfriend kissed my cheek while we cuddled up watching a TV show. I kissed her back, and then we had a conversation about us. Story 31. I bought a ring pop and surprised her with it dramatically. I approached from behind her on the couch, gave her a hug over the back, held out the ring pop, and asked her. Story 32. The last time I had a girlfriend, we made a bet in school regarding a class assignment. If she received a better grade, I would make her dinner. If I did, she would. There wasn't a scenario where we weren't having dinner together, so it was a win-win situation. That relationship lasted 4 years, though it was mostly long distance. We eventually drifted apart. With my next partner, I didn't really ask. She was already a friend, and we just had a one-night stand that has lasted 30 years. Story 33. I was really excited about it because it was her first relationship and asked if she wanted to make it official. She giggled and loved it. Story 34. I don't think I asked my wife to be my girlfriend. I believe we just agreed to be exclusive with each other. I remember something about changing my relationship status on Facebook, and we both said, "Cool, we're Facebook official now." I don't know. It was 13 and a half years ago. Story 35. I didn't ask her. I told her I wasn't going to pretend she isn't my girlfriend, even though I'm acting like she is. She didn't object. Story 36. She asked if I had seen Saltburn. I hadn't, so she suggested I watch it. 2 days later, I told her I had seen it, and she asked my opinion on a particular scene. I replied that I found it very intense. She then asked if I was interested in recreating that scene in 2 weeks, and I said yes. 2 weeks later, the morning after, she asked me if I wanted to go get breakfast. I told her I would, as long as we considered it a first date. She agreed. Story 37. You date for a while, maybe a few months, and one day you have the "are we exclusive?" conversation. By that point, it should be fairly obvious. If you're regularly spending time together without planned dates and often staying at each other's places, it's already established that you are a couple. You only need to discuss exclusivity. Story 38. I was crying in the walk-in fridge where we used to work, trying to reach some shredded cheese. He came in to ask what was wrong and to help calm me down, and then said, "Why don't I take you to dinner to talk about it? We have been together for 5 years now." Story 39. Not a girl, but this is the story. My boyfriend was already dating another man, and I had a crush on him. He told me he'd be open to polyamory if his partner was okay with it. He asked the next day, and not only was his partner okay with it, but I ended up dating both of them. Eventually, his partner broke up with us, so now it's just me and him. It's been almost 10 months. I love him so much. Story 40. Well, she is not my girlfriend, nor has she ever been my girlfriend. I have only asked one girl out in the 8th grade. I was very confident, but she said, "Sorry, I am still upset about my last relationship. Maybe you can give me some time." I agreed, but apparently not even a whole day later, 18 hours after our conversation, she started dating a high school athlete. Story 41. I was about to join a technology company and had to attend an online orientation session with selected candidates. During the session, I noticed a name that was quite rare among the audience, and it stuck with me. Weeks later, I received my joining confirmation, and I sadly got an office in a different state, so I had to move. On my first day, they organized an event at the auditorium, and I saw a girl who looked simple yet incredibly attractive. After that, I got to my office and coincidentally, that girl ended up in the same office as me, sitting directly across from my desk. After a few days of subtle glances while working, I noticed her walking to the same neighborhood where I had rented a place. The next day, I discovered she was the girl whose name had caught my attention during the session. Summoning some courage, I approached her and mentioned I remembered her name from the orientation. She seemed a bit confused at first, but we made small talk. She didn't speak much in groups, often staying silent, which I found attractive, to be honest. Later that day, as I was walking home, I saw her again. I quickened my pace, not intending to start a conversation, but just to steal another glance at her. She noticed me and initiated a conversation. She mentioned she was new to the area and suggested we explore the neighborhood together after dinner. I pretended to hesitate but quickly agreed. The moment felt perfect for exchanging numbers, and we both said it at the same time, which made us laugh. After a few days of talking, she asked if I had ever been in a relationship. I hesitated, feeling like I was being tested for compatibility. After thinking for a while, I told myself to be honest. I said I had never been in a relationship but had 2 crushes in my lifetime. She asked me about the first one and I told her about my college crush. When she asked about the second, I initially refused to tell her, but after much persuasion, I confessed that she was my second crush. There was a moment of silence before she admitted she didn't know how to respond. My heart was pounding, and I started questioning my approach. I remember it was Christmas Eve. She asked to meet for a walk that night. We walked together in silence until she revealed she had developed a liking toward me and suspected it when I hesitated to reveal my second crush. I asked her if we should give a relationship a try, and she said yes. We went on our first date on Christmas Day to a place she had found on maps. We had a great meal that night. It's been 6 months now, and I have truly learned the patience people talk about in relationships. I apologize for this long story of mine, but I wrote it because I want to read it later and giggle like I am right now. Story 42. My boyfriend and I were already exclusive and had kissed a few times. We both wanted to wait to have sex, as previous relationships had not been good. However, I had spent the night with him and had some casual dates before. One morning, I rolled over and asked why he hadn't asked me to be his girlfriend yet, and if he didn't want to be my boyfriend. We have been official ever since. Story 43. Roughly 5 years ago, we were friends for many years but never flirted or romanticized in any way due to one of us already being in a relationship at some point. The time eventually came when we were both single. I took her out several times purely as a friend to take her mind off the responsibilities of life. After a few months, we became flirty. I decided to take my chance. I took her out for tacos and ice cream. I could feel the chemistry building between us from the moment I picked her up. Later in the evening, as we were about to get back in my car to take her home, I stood in front of her, gave her my full and unwavering eye contact, determinedly took both her hands in mine, took a deep breath, and solemnly asked, "Her name? Will you be my girlfriend?" She immediately rolled her eyes and exclaimed, "Oh my God, yes." I took her face in my hands and kissed her adoringly, then intensified the kiss. She stopped me mid-kiss and said, "What took you so long? And where have you been hiding this side of you?" We dated for around 2 years. It was a very memorable moment. Story 44. I didn't. She asked me if she likes you enough. She will have the "what are we" talk with you. No gesture is needed. Let her decide. Story 45. You graduated high school over 13 years ago and still don't realize that not all women are the same. Some appreciate grand gestures while others do not. Just communicate with them and express your desire to be in a healthy relationship. Story 46. I have never been fully exclusive. I dated one girl seriously, but she was never ready for a relationship when I asked. Everything confused me. Story 47. My boyfriend asked me to be his girlfriend after we dated for a while, having been best friends before. This happened after a Frank Zappa tribute band show. He had it all figured out. Story 48. It's hard to say if I've ever asked explicitly. Most of the time, we're just spending time together for a while, and after a couple of months, I usually say, so, exclusive. Story 49. I asked my boyfriend, are we together? He replied, you are my girlfriend now. We laughed together afterward. Now we have been together for over a year and a half. Story 50. Honestly, it was a lot like when Caboose asked out Tex in Red versus Blue. He was my inspiration to make it awkward, and somehow she said yes. Story 51. I kissed her, believing she was expecting it. She wasn't. That night, she reflected on the moment and decided it might not be a bad thing. Story 52. It was my senior year in high school, and I had been single for almost 5 years at that point. My previous relationship of 1.5 years ended painfully. I met a girl in my theater class, and I was inexplicably drawn to her. I didn't feel anything romantic at first, either because I didn't think I had a chance or due to past pain. Probably both. However, as fate would have it, our friendship grew, and we became closer. About a month or two later, I asked her if she wanted to be my girlfriend, and before I even finished my sentence, she said, yes, immediately. We are still together nearly 3 years later. Story 53. We had been seeing each other for about 3 months and established that neither of us was seeing anyone else about a month into that. I referred to him as my boyfriend, purely because it was easier, but I wasn't sure if he felt the same way. One night, I got tipsy on cheap red wine at a friend's housewarming party and told him I would like us to officially be boyfriend and girlfriend. His response was, I thought we were already. That was just over a year ago now. Story 54. I already considered her my girlfriend within the first week or two because I could tell she wasn't talking to anyone else. She was so gorgeous and fun. I certainly didn't need any convincing. But about a month or two in, when she introduced me to some of her friends, they asked, oh, is this your new boyfriend? My tipsy girlfriend tersely said, I don't know. I got the hint then and made a point to cutely ask if she wanted to be my girlfriend later that night, which got an instant smile and yes. I still like to tease her about that 15 years later. Our boyfriend-girlfriend anniversary is still a point of debate because she insists it was the night I asked, but I get to put my nose in the air and remind her I only had eyes for her since the night I met her. Story 55. I simply said to her, I like you and I want you. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. The choice is yours. Luckily, she got the reference. Story 56. We connected so well that it went without saying. After 16 days, I jokingly told her she deserved an official version. And I did just that. Unfortunately, all good things come to an end. Story 57. We were intimate one day, and when we finished, I simply said, I love you, and she said it back. That was that. Story 58. I didn't ask. Be my girlfriend is how a third grader talks. That isn't how relationships start or grow. It begins with talking to someone you do not know, maybe over a cup of coffee and a conversation. You get to know each other, and if there is chemistry, it just happens. The next thing you know, you are holding hands while going to a park. You feel great when you are close and can't stop thinking about each other during the day. Then there is that first kiss, and whatever happens next is part of a relationship. Story 59. I always loved my life until they asked what we were doing. If I wanted them as a girlfriend, I'd say, you aren't single if that's what you're asking. It either worked or it didn't. Story 60. I will let you know if it ever happens. I would likely need to date more and feel comfortable with dating for it to occur. Story 61. She made the first move, so I didn't have to. If you really like this girl, then just tell her how you feel. Story 62. By saying, hey, I like you. I love spending time with you. Would you like to be my girlfriend? She won't understand if you don't ask her. Hints might go unnoticed. Communication solves many problems. Story 63. Strangely enough, I have never said the words, will you be my girlfriend, or any variation of that phrase. Every relationship I have been in has involved going out, having a nice time, repeating a few times, and sharing one romantic kiss. After that, it's just assumed. I start referring to them as my girlfriend, and that's it. Story 64. We had been dating for 5 to 6 months after meeting on an online dating platform. I shared my feelings at the time, expressing that I enjoyed seeing her and spending time with her. I wanted to take our relationship further, go exclusive, and have her be my girlfriend. I felt I had a good sense that she was feeling the same and was ready too, but being explicit and clear is the only way. Story 65. There is no such thing as doing too much as long as it comes from the heart and you are not doing it for show for other people. I was thinking the other day that I have never had anyone ask me to be their girlfriend except for my first boyfriend. Go for it. She will love it. Story 66. We were at a carnival, and a guy working one of the games said, "Hey buddy, come win a prize for your girlfriend." So I responded, "Not my wife, girlfriend." And that was that. Story 67. You aren't getting engaged. This is just more of a conversation. I talked to my wife about it when she was going to meet my family for the first time. I said, "I'm going to introduce you as my girlfriend because I feel like we're in a fairly committed relationship." She responded, "Yep." Story 68. We were planning a camping trip with my friends, and one of my friends wrote my name and my boyfriend's name in the group chat. My boyfriend at the time saw that and agreed, which led to us becoming boyfriend and girlfriend. Story 69. I wouldn't take a trip with someone who isn't my girlfriend. If you can do all that, then just ask her. Story 70. When I was 20, I sent a girl I was casually dating a message after a period during which we both had developed feelings. The message said, "Will you be my girlfriend? Yes, no, maybe." I copied the style of love letters you would send in elementary school. She thought it was super cute, and we were together for 3.5 years. Story 71. I've never asked. I'm just having fun until I get the question. So where's this going? Each time I end it there, but there was one time I decided to pursue it. That relationship crashed and burned 3 years later. Story 72. It has almost always been the girl asking me. I take a while to commit and found that inevitably she would be the one asking at some point. Story 73. My boyfriend didn't ask. He said if I still wanted to join him and his friends on the 4th of July. Yes, I'm an American. I said yes. He replied, "Good, because that way I can introduce you to everyone as my girlfriend." It has only been about a week. Story 74. We broke up now, but at the time we had been making out for a while. Can I have some attention? Story 75. I don't think I've asked a girl to be my girlfriend since middle school. It was pretty implied that once you're going on dates and spending time together, you just have to make sure you're exclusive to each other, and that's it. If people need to be told that they're in a relationship when they're already engaging in a romantic way, then it's concerning that they're willing to go that far with someone they don't even consider to be dating. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.